Oh, look, it's a good luck black cat. Hello, everyone. Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends. And this here is Bandit. He is purring happily, but he is really not happy. So I am going to let him down and get right back to you. So we are here on the free to play, and I have been debating this for quite a while. We are certainly running a little bit low on mystery shards here, not doing too bad, but I am certainly grinding for some chickens, and I am certainly looking for a little bit more direction on this account. So I think I am going to pull 10 of these ancient shards today, and I think I'm probably going to pull 10 of these ancient shards tomorrow. And why am I going to split it up? Well, because I want to do my dailies. I want to split it up just a little bit, and I wouldn't mind Duchess, and I wouldn't mind Nekmothar. So I'm going to pull on the progressive for one of the two of them and just kind of see what we get. Because I should be able to get 2 more ancient shards by tomorrow, because I'm actually accumulating them at a somewhat reasonable rate at the moment. I don't have an event to save them up for at the moment, and it's CVC. I'd like to win the personal rewards. I think that's actually kind of important for this account. It's going to help a lot. And you know what? I've been seeing a bunch of other people get Legos, and hey, maybe it's a bit of peer pressure. So we are going to make a single 10 pull today, and then I'm going to make a single 10 pull tomorrow, and I'm probably going to splice these videos together so that you'll get them all in one 10 pull. Now, we did have the Lucky Bandit. I don't have a Pepsi with me at the moment, so give me 1 second. All right, so I have a Pepsi with me, not a sponsor, but Pepsi, you could be. So why is it Duchess I'm looking at? Well, looking at the progressive right here, we've got this new dude right here. He looks to be a damage dealer in Arena. I've got Alice. Alice is good enough, and honestly, I've got enough damage dealers. I've also got Sun Wukong to be a damage dealer as well. That is 2 decent-ish arena damage dealers. Damage isn't my problem. Duchess would be great because she gives me another AoE revive, and she gives me Veil, which means she's going to give me some support in Hydra for the Fearhead. And that's going to be very important if I'm going to make any progress in Hydra. Now, Prisma here is an interesting champion for PvP, but that's really all she's good for. Glyciad is a very good champion for Hydra, but he's only really good for more of the end game accounts because he adds extra damage. He does not give you any healing. He does have the revive, and it's okay for the revive, but overall his kit isn't quite as good. Whereas Duchess, I think, provides just a little bit more overall for something that would be helpful for this account. Heck, Duchess may end up making it into my clan boss team just because the additional protection from her veils and the block debuffs will actually add an awful lot of extra value in clan boss. So we're going to pull here and we're going to see what we get. We're going to do a 10 pull, make it nice and quick, see if we can get lucky, see if we can get a legendary. Honestly, a really good epic would be just as good as well. So let's get something cool. There is an epic. That is a torture helm. That is not a good epic. And that's unfortunate, and that's why pulling on some of these events is not particularly great. Now, a duplicate Kale, kind of cool. I mean, honestly, I may actually hold on to that duplicate Kale just as something else to do damage in the faction. But, I'm not going to build a second Kale. And nobody else here is really screaming, build me, build me, build me, in any of this stuff. Maybe 1 or 2 of these champions might be interesting in some of the fusions, so I'll double check the fusions. I do actually have a Meat Carver. He's actually pretty solid as a reviver for the Skinwalkers, but since I have Sun Wukong and Meat Carver and that's about it, I think I've got a Gnarlhorn, I don't really need a second reviver in there either. So we should be back with hopefully another 10 pull tomorrow. So it is Wednesday, and we are back, and we are here to pull the remaining 10 shards. I mentioned I figured I could probably get at least 2 more. I actually had a couple of rewards, one in Faction Wars, where I've made some pretty good progress, and another one from one of the events. So I will take a nice 10 pull. Again, we are going for Nekmothar here, and that is basically because Nekmothar brings the decreased attack AoE that I could use, the increased speed, the decreased speed. Leech is very viable as well. All of these champions are good. Gwendolyn is certainly interestingly tempting. As a slightly better speed lead, we have Ostrid, but I'm actually maybe going to get Arbiter over the course of this, so I think I don't necessarily need Ostrich as badly, whereas I think Necmo will do more for me in just about every area of the game. I think he'll end up in my clan boss team. That's how important I think Necmo will be because of that decreased attack. I think that's going to help a ton. So Staltus, good champion, but I don't need another nuker at the moment, although I couldn't use the force wouldn't be bad. I really do like Morgaine as well, but I think honestly of these 5 champions, she is probably the worst overall. Definitely good in arena, definitely got some good use against the Dark Fae, so from that end could be interesting, but doesn't do anything so much better than any other champion on here that I would pick her over an Ostrid or a Necmo, definitely. So I love Necmo. I've made a video on him. In fact, I'll put a link to that video guide up there if you are interested in my thoughts on Necmo Thar. I think he's an absolutely amazing champion. But we are going to do this 10 pull, and then I'll show you around the count just a little bit as a bit of a minor status update before things like Doom Tower roll over. So we need to get a Pepsi. I don't have a Pepsi. Shame on me. I'll be right back. Alrighty, we are back. We have Pepsi, not a sponsor. Pepsi, you could be. You could be. Just think about it. So we get some prayers to RNGesus. Maybe it will bless this account. We've pulled 60, maybe 70 shards so far with this, so we're not near Mercy yet. We're certainly getting to territory where you kind of hope that you're going to get a legendary anyway, but we are not near Mercy, and technically, it doesn't matter what the previous pulls were. Your next chance for each shard is only 5%. So when we talk about, for example, you'll actually hear the stats of during a 2x, it's about 80 to 85 shards to average between a Lego, and it's about 120 to 130 shards outside of a 2x to average a Lego. But when we say average, we're talking about pulling all 80, all 120, whatever shards, plus we are also talking about over thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pulls. So, unfortunately, this is a game of RNG. Sometimes it's going to bless you, sometimes it's going to curse you, but that's why we pray to RNGesus to bless this account. Thank you very much. Let's go. And there's an epic. Ooh, Vergis. Vergis. I actually have never built a Vergis because Vergis was one of the last epics for me to get on my main account. And by the time I got my alt account, it was so far beyond Vergis, it didn't make any sense either for me to build him. Vergis is good. Vergis, I think, will actually help me against the Scarab boss. Anybody else here? Blood Mask, not too bad. I need to build up a couple of Shadowkins, so he'll probably go on my Shadowkin team for a little while. Pathfinder Kate is actually not too bad for a decent champion to use for the Sylvan Watchers. There might be a fusion. I think Skink. Ooh, Metal Shaper. I didn't think about that too. Metal Shaper is actually really good to hold on to for the Scarab boss as well. So from a rare perspective, this is actually a decent pull for this account. So I'm not going to complain too much about this. Plus, I'll use some of these folks as chickens if they're not good for anything else. Vergis gives me a 3-turn cooldown Ally Protect, which gives me some interesting clan boss options. So he may end up in my clan boss team. Plus, he only needs 1 book to make this that 3-turn cooldown, and otherwise it starts out on a 4. Plus, he throws continuous heal buffs and increased speed buffs on continuous heal and increased speed buff on a target ally. That's going to make it difficult to tune, which is probably why he's not in a lot of tunes. But he still may be interesting to bring into some of this clan boss stuff, maybe instead of Tagore, although I lose increased speed on everyone else if I do that as well. We'll certainly see what works there. But the ally protection is huge because in clan boss, that's a big deal. Increased defense on him is definitely helpful. The other fun thing he has is he's got a shield buff that puts on his champion whenever he loses 10% or more of his max HP, which is part of why he's really good against the Scarab boss. And then continuous heal if he every 2 turns, every time the champion drops below 50%. So it's for 2 turns. It has a 3-turn cooldown. You can book it down to a 1. So he only needs 3 books there. He only needs 4 more books here. Decent champion. He's got a defense aura in all dungeons by 33%. That's not too bad. Base stats are okay. He can be very good for The Scarab boss, however, because you can certainly build him somewhat tanky, and even as there's reflect damage he puts on himself on a random ally, but if he's soloing something, he puts it on himself. So what you do is you build him somewhat tanky and destroy gear, and basically let him solo the Scarab boss. And it's not always fast, but he can do it. So Vergis is definitely going to get built at least to 5 stars on this account. He is going to be super helpful. He's also going to help my Elves team because my Elves team honestly needs some help because I've got a couple of okay rares, and that's it. So I am actually super excited to get myself a Vergis. He is definitely going to be a 5-star probably before the end of the week. He might even be one of my next 6 stars if I'm going to use him for Scarab Boss and other stuff like that. Metal Shaper is going to be interesting to hold on to, so at the very least I'm going to hold on to him. I never liked his shield. He's also stupid slow, so you have to make everyone else slower behind him, but he can help keep your team alive in the Scarab Boss if that's what you need. So that's pretty good. So let's go check out other places of the account. Almost missed this, so before we go look over the account overview, I do actually have 2 Mortal Soulstones here to pull. One of them is from Hydra. I actually managed to get a chest on Hydra. I got the second chest on Hydra, actually. It was pretty exciting. And I had one here just from farming. I have been farming Sand Devil regularly because these souls are huge, huge power improvements. In fact, I actually had a soul for Pathfinder Kate, which we pulled just a minute ago. And so it was definitely, she is worth keeping on that team because just a 1-star soul is enough to give her a ton of extra HP. And even for a rare, that makes her more survivable and adds to her damage because I can put something like Phantom Touch on her and then she's able to do extra damage. So we are going to pull these 2 souls as a bonus. It is CVC, so makes some sense, but I'm not even saving for the 2Xs because honestly, a 6X, a 6-star soul and a 5-star soul are not extremely useful to me unless they're for very specific champions. So I'd rather get souls for champions that are going to help me. Nazana would actually be a champion who might be able to help me because she would give me an ally protection and decrease attack. Not great decrease attack, and she definitely takes a bunch of books. She'd be kind of usable. Not a particularly exciting soul, but again, any soul certainly helps, and she's HP based, so that would actually help her overall as well. And then we've got a Ghoulish Ranger. That's probably just going to get sold. But generally, I've been keeping the souls until I have a soul that in the shop I know I want to buy, and then I will see if I can sell any of these souls for the appropriate materials and go for there. Otherwise, there's a good chance that if I pull some of these rares and it turns out I need to book them and build them, well, if I happen to have a 1-star, 2-star soul, it could be helpful. Same thing with the epics and the legendaries. I don't want to sell a really good epic or legendary soul if I don't have to, just in case I get a chance to pull them on the free-to-play, and that soul is a huge power boost. So let's go take a look at where I am in things like Doom Tower and Centranos. I wanted to show this off because this is Doom Tower Hard. Doom Tower is going to reset in less than 2 days now, so I am pretty sure I am hard stuck here at the Nether Spider on floor 30 on hard. And just because I can't cleanse well enough to keep all the poisons off me, I'm not fast enough to do all the damage, and I've only got one champion that's actually good enough to one-shot the spiderlings, and even then, they're not quite good enough to one-shot the spiderlings at hard 30 at this point in time. So I need to kind of do this a little bit better. Geo helps a ton. Geo is the only reason I got past it in the previous session. I'll still certainly poke at it here and there, but it is 100% a manual run, and I am praying for the best random generation number stuff that I can get in order to actually land anything and everything that I can for this boss. Now, I still use the monkey, even though he's a bad affinity, because at the very least, his AoE can strip off the counterattacks. So if he doesn't kill the other spiders, he strips off all the counterattacks first, and then does some decent amount of damage. And I don't need to worry about killing them, even though I can later on. So that helps quite a bit as well. But overall, I just don't have enough combination of healing, cleansing, and damage to really get past the Nether Spider. And that's fine, because that puts me still in the top 5 of everybody on this Doom floor. So that is absolutely huge. One of the other reasons that I am number 1, although I think at the moment I am no longer number 1 on the overall leadership boards, and that's fine. Honestly, I don't need to place number 1 to know that I've succeeded in this challenge. The fact that I've been number 1 for some time is amazing, And the fact that, I've had some fun, it's not a big deal. So if I don't stay number one, that's fine. It's in the cards. It happens. But the biggest reason I think I'm in number one right now is this Chimera damage right here. The fact that I was able to get 2 trials done and 33 million damage is absolutely amazing. And just for the breakdown, I think this breaks down. Yes, it does. Geomancer is hard carrying this team. Alice is second with the Brimstone. Kale does decent amount of damage in here as well. He's certainly one of the weaker links on this one because he is a little squishy at this point in time. But, you need to be able to tank up whatever else. And I will also let you guys know that this key, and of course my easy key as well. So if I go to my easy key, I did 46 million here. So this key as well was saved about halfway through by Ugo's passive. And I knew that was probably going to happen because the Viper is absolutely devastating to this team because I can't cleanse everything off and I don't have block debuffs. So Ugo's passive allows me to recover absolutely everybody. And so what actually happened is some of these champions died off against the Viper. The Viper changed back into the other form, killed everybody but Ugo, and then Ugo was able to revive everybody. And I saved her thing. I manualed this, so you absolutely have to manual this to get scores like this. And Ugo saved the day. One of the biggest tricks for getting Ugo to save the day, if you look at the order here, my lead was Alice. Ugo was in last place. You want Ugo in last place on any team you can, because Ugo in the last place means that she has a chance to save your team, because what happens is damage, while dealt semi-simultaneously, is not 100% simultaneously. It goes down your champions in order. So it'll hit Alice first, then Kale, then Geomancer, then Tagore, and then Ugo. But Ugo's passive will proc before she takes damage, even in a single target AO, or not even in an AoE situation. So that means that she has a chance to stay alive at the end of a counterattack or end of any attack. And if she happens to have her buff up or her heal up, she can revive everybody. It is not something you want to rely on, but it's something for an emergency valve that it's certainly a good way to build your teams, putting Ugo in last place. And finally, I want to show a little bit off of Cursed City. Now you'll see here I've gotten, 8 or 10 of these things done so far in Cursed City, which I found to be particularly impressive. What is more impressive is this is Cursed City hard. And I did not expect to be able to get this far in Cursed City hard. So once I realized I was fighting in Cursed City hard, and I'd actually gotten this far, in fact, I got this one over here too, so I did get 10 of them on here. I went back to normal, which is behind me, but I did trigger that. And as you can see, I got even more here on normal. So on normal here, in fact, I've cleared 20 stages. If I can figure out how to clear 5 more, I might be able to get to 25 and get, something towards this chest, which would be absolutely amazing. I don't think it's going to happen, and some of it is because, for example, I can't deal with the Frost Spider because I don't have any way to block this Frost Spider's revive with anybody on my team that would show up on this team here. I don't have a way to deal with Hard Spider with this team here because I don't have enough damage dealers to deal with Hard Spider, let alone to save myself from the Hard Spiderlings. I have not been able to get past this floor because I just haven't built all the champions that would be particularly useful here. Maybe investing in Whisper might help. Maybe investing in this dude might help a bit. Cold Heart 6-starring definitely has helped a little bit, but the second wave of this just absolutely murderizes me, and I really don't do enough damage or have enough support to really make it work right now. So I think I'm probably much hard locked into where we're at. And again, Bommel is one of these ones where maybe I can get this team to work, but I would certainly have to invest in these 2 champions significantly more to maybe make it work. And I'm kind of taking risks with Coldheart, but she happens to be a 6-star, so I figured I'd try. So that is kind of where I'm at with some of these special things here until they reset. I'm certainly going to keep on plucking away at Cursed City because I've got plenty of time to do so. And I'm certainly going to see if I can get just a little bit farther in Doom Tower. But I'm also looking at what the next rotation is. The next rotation is going to have Bommel. Well, I now have a Master Butcher, and he will help a lot with Bommel. And honestly, the early Bommel got nerfed well enough that the early Bommel and normal should be fairly easy for me to fight. And it should only be a problem where I need Master Butcher absolutely built later. But right now, Master Butcher is a 4-star, going on a 5-star. He's almost fully booked. He's a rare, so it shouldn't be too hard to book him. And he's been a priority for me. Now that I've got Vergis, I can then deal with the Scarab Boss. Scarab Boss, I believe, is going to be magic, but if he's magic or force, it's definitely not going to be yeah, he's going to be not magic or force. If he's either force or spirit, and I think he's going to be spirit because Bommel is always force. So Vergis will be fine. He will be on affinity. It won't be negative affinity, which will make it a little bit harder for Vergis, but it also won't be negative affinity to most of my other champions. So I think we should be okay. And then finally, we're going to have Dark Fae, and High Katoon is going to have to be enough for Dark Fae. That's part of the reason I actually thought going for Necmo might have been good, but High Katoon, and with everyone else, mostly speed tuned on my team with a High Katoon doing her thing, I should be fine. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And honestly, I think once we can get into Dark Fae and farm Dark Fae, even if I'm farming just the first one, that is going to be a huge boost for this account because there's a chance I might be able to stick some not great, but acceptable lethal gear on a couple of champions. And that's going to actually skyrocket some of my damage. Hopefully I can get to the point where I'm actually farming 80, maybe even 120, and maybe even hard 40. Who knows? I can certainly hope. But that's where I'm at with this account. Hopefully you've enjoyed the shard pulls. Hopefully you've enjoyed the update. I appreciate you guys hanging out there. Hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. It is a great way to support me and all this content creation. You guys are absolutely amazing. Have a wonderful day. And until the next video, I'm Bront CatHerder.